So I'm not an educator. I'm a software entrepreneur, sold a company, got involved with Cleveland schools doing some after-school programming. It wound up that I saw the school system that wasn't working, so I said, let's start a school, and the rest is, you're gonna hear the histories. But let's start with this. This is a map of Cleveland, and every red dot that you see on that map, I hope you can read it from way in the back, but every red dot is basically a kid enrolled in a failing school in our city, and that's more than 30,000 kids enrolled in failing schools. You notice most of the red dots are on the east side of the river, on the east side of Cleveland. That's where most of our schools are. So we purposely put our schools in the most underserved, challenging neighborhoods. We don't put them over on the far west side, middle class areas. We have chosen, our mission is to serve the most underserved kids, so that's what we do. So, as you know, 54% of the kids in Cleveland still live in poverty. It's the highest in the nation. Nearly 80% of our kids live in poverty, so we have a higher percentage of low-income kids. 20% of the kids in Cleveland won't finish high school even, and of course a whopping 86% will not finish college, even at 6 years. So that's the state of where we are, and that's what we're working on. We have 10 schools. We merged 2 campuses together last year during COVID. We serve 5 campuses, so every campus is a K through 4 and a 5 through 8, so it's an elementary and a middle school. It's K through 8 only. We have about 3,300 scholars. 98% plus are non-white, so people of color. We have an Asian population, Hispanic, Black, mostly Black. 78% low income. We're ranked among the top charters in the state of Ohio. There's an $1,800 per child gap in funding that we have to cover through philanthropy. So we don't get the same funding as every other public school in the state. We get a lot less. And we now have 2,451 alums, which Jim will talk more about that. So that's kind of, so if you had 2,451 with the 3,000 plus, we're serving well over 5,000 kids. So Eric Gordon, that was taken a few years ago. We are part of the CMSD Portfolio School Network, which means even though we're a public charter, we are treated as though we were just part of the system. So in terms of families, they can go to any school they want in Cleveland. I don't care where you live in Ohio, you can go. We take any kid from Ohio. If you live in Akron, you can go to our school. So we're part of the Portfolio District. A little history, back in 2000, there was a school called Citizens Academy. The next year, there was a school called Intergenerational, and then ePrep is the school I founded in 2006. We had 3 schools, all separate, all doing separate things. We then started an elementary school called Village Prep, but in 2009, the 3 founders got together and said, do we want to keep doing this separately, or should we get together and try to work together? So we formed Breakthrough Schools in 2010 and immediately began growing. So you can see the growth, adding schools every year, buying district buildings, and skyrocketed enrollment up to 3,300 kids. So that's the quick history since 2000 up to today. Millie pointed out we're the 3rd largest system in Cuyahoga County, K through 8. So Cleveland, Parma, Breakthrough. Now, people have been asking, how do you measure schools? You measure by all sorts of things, including report cards, and this isn't our main focus. Report cards are not our main focus. However, people want to know, how do you do? Because why should I support you? You know better than anybody else. So the last testing year, aside from last year, which I don't have all the results yet, but at least in 19, every school district has to take these tests, which measure how well does a kid do on a 5th grade test, period. How well do they do on a 6th grade test? This is the big A, Akron. You can see Cincinnati was up at the top. And these are the raw scores of how kids do in our state, and then that's Breakthrough. So you can see that Breakthrough, by and large, outperforms all of the big 8 urban school districts in the state. We do not outperform Chagrin Falls and Orange and, Rocky River. We don't. I wish we did, but we don't. But that's how we do generally. Neighborhood by neighborhood is what really matters. Remember I told you we put our schools where the red dots are? So let's look at all those red dot neighborhoods like Glenville. All the ones in yellow are our schools. So if you're a family who lives in Glenville, you can send your kid anywhere you want, but that's what the rankings are. St. Clair Superior area, top. Lee Harvard, top. Cadell, West Side, top. Union Miles, one of the worst challenged neighborhoods in the country. We're 2nd in the neighborhood. So largely across the city, we put our schools and neighborhoods that need them, and then we perform the local. So we've been doing this for the prep since 2006. The first class coming in 2006, we called the class of 2017. If you do the math real quick, you'll know that that means the college graduation year. So you start in 6th grade in 06, you're going to graduate, if you do it in 4 years, in 2017 from a 4-year college. So a friend of mine named Eric Baumgartner, he's a donor, he's a board member. I've known him for 40 years. He took me out to dinner in 2017 and asked me one simple question. John, how's that class of 2017 doing? And I said, I don't know. He goes, how could you not know? People have been giving you money for 10 years on the promise that you're going to prepare kids for success in life, and you can't even tell me. Now, did I know some of them? Yeah, I mean, anecdotally, I could tell you about some kids, but no stats. I didn't know how many kids graduated from high school. So he goes, well, that's unacceptable. And I said, well, why don't you help me fix it then? And he said, okay. So he volunteered for months and months and months. It ended up actually being a one-person show for 3.5 years before he became a bit burned out because COVID was in the air, and he would say to me, John, you got to give me some help. I can't do this. He found 2,451 alums by himself, got them all into salesforce.org, which he taught somebody into setting up for free by himself, built relationships with many high schools in town by himself, developed relationships with colleges by himself, and was at the point of saying, I can't do this, I can't quit, and I can't keep doing it. So you got to do something, because I'm at that point, it's no longer an infancy corporation. It's like, So right around that time, I get a call from this guy named Jim Bennett. And Jim, I think I'm going to turn it over to you for the rest of the story, because something magic happened around Thanksgiving of 2020.